Good day, everyone. This is John Girardi from Right to Life of Central California, bringing you another in our series of videos on the abortion question, which we're doing every day during 40 Days for Life. 40 Days for Life is the international campaign of prayer and presence outside of abortion clinics worldwide. If you want to learn more about our clinic here in Fresno, you can go to rtlcc.org. Today, I'm going to talk about Roe v. Wade. A lot of people know the name Roe v. Wade. They know broadly what it did, that it legalized abortion. But there's a lot about Roe v. Wade that people don't quite understand. They don't quite understand how it worked, how it continues to work, and sort of what it does. And a lot of people don't understand exactly how extreme Roe v. Wade was. A lot of people will actually talk about it as if it is something moderate. People will say, well, I'm not crazy about abortion. I'm personally opposed to abortion. But, I think Roe v. Wade, it was good. It gave women choice. For if a woman's raped or something, or, in a horrible situation, incest, whatever. But that's not what Roe v. Wade did. Roe v. Wade and its sister case, Doe v. Bolton, legalized all abortion at any stage of pregnancy and for any reason in all 50 states of the Union. In fact, it more or less overturned the state laws that existed in 1973 in almost every single state. Here's why. In American law, our Constitution basically functions as our super law or our foundational law. The Constitution says X. It means that a normal law that's passed by, let's say, Congress or by our state legislature, it cannot be consistent. It cannot be inconsistent, rather, with the Constitution, okay? The Constitution in the First Amendment says the right to freedom of speech shall not be abridged. Okay, it doesn't matter if the House of Representatives passes it, doesn't matter if the Senate passes it, doesn't matter if the president signs it into law. If a federal law is passed saying, actually, the right to freedom of speech is being abridged in this way, that law is unconstitutional. And if it's challenged in the courts would say, this is unconstitutional, it cannot be enforced, this law is null and void. Similarly, if the state of California tried to pass a law like that, the state assembly voted on it, the state senate voted on it, and the governor signed it into law, well, that would be an unconstitutional law, and a judge would throw it out, saying this is inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States. You cannot ban people from speaking. So the Constitution is our foundational law, and the Constitution is really, really hard to change. Okay? To change the Constitution, you have to go through the amendment process, and the amendment process is incredibly difficult and onerous. You need two-thirds majorities in both houses of Congress. You need 3/4 of all the state legislatures to go along with it. It's a nightmare. Now, I'm actually amazed that the Constitution got amended as many times as it did. It's been amended 27 times. And, the amendment process is only possible when you have broad and sweeping national consensus about something. It's hard to amend the Constitution. Now, here's the thing about the Constitution, though. It's not always super crystal clear what it means, all right? The First Amendment says the right to freedom of speech shall not be abridged. Well, what exactly is speech? Is it anything that's expressive? If I want to go on the radio and start cursing, can the government censor me? If I wanted to, do a bizarre interpretive dance in a park while not wearing any clothes, is that a speech that's protected by the Constitution? And in various ways, the answer would be no to all of those things. The First Amendment has a certain context to it, a certain historical context, it protects freedom of speech as a certain kind of term of art, not literally anytime anyone talks. Okay, if you print libel or slander about someone, you can still be subject to state laws prohibiting those things. Or if you are leading an angry mob that wants to beat somebody up and you yell, go get him, you can't have as your defense, well, I have the right to freedom of speech. I was allowed to tell this angry mob to murder this person. It doesn't work that way. Speech is a very certain thing. And ultimately, the final arbiter of what the Constitution says on difficult questions is the Supreme Court. So when you pass a law, yes, it has to be consistent with the Constitution, but ultimately it has to be consistent with what the Supreme Court says the Constitution means, because they're the final arbiter. There's no one above them. Now, you may ask, what if the Supreme Court gets it wrong? Well, unfortunately, there's no great solution. Your only option is either to amend the Constitution to have it say precisely what you want it to say, or wait for those justices on the Supreme Court who interpreted the Constitution incorrectly, as you believe, wait for those justices to die or retire. and then elect a president and elect senators who will nominate and confirm Supreme Court justices more to your liking. So that was the problem with Roe v. Wade, was that it was the Supreme Court purporting to interpret the Constitution itself, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade basically said that due process cannot exist in the United States of America without a broad right to privacy existing. And the parameters of this are very vague and nebulous. What is this right to privacy? There's no right to privacy written in the Constitution anywhere, but they sort of gleamed this out of the 14th Amendment. And mind you, the 14th Amendment's protection of due process was meant to help protect former slaves so that they would not be subjected to unfair criminal and civil judicial processes. Okay, no one shall be deprived of life, executed, liberty, thrown in jail, or property, fined, without due process of law. The 14th Amendment was passed right after the U.S. Civil War, and it was made a condition for readmitting the southern states back into the Union. So that was the point of it. It was to protect fair judicial processes, not to create new rights like the right to privacy out of thin air. Well, the court reasoned that if there's a right to privacy that exists because we need privacy in order for due process to exist, then, well, within the right to privacy, there must be a right to make medical decisions. And within the right to make medical decisions is probably the right to decide whether or not to have an abortion. And so by saying that abortion was hidden in the text of the 14th Amendment itself, hidden in the text of the Constitution itself, basically the Supreme Court took away from all of the states and from the U.S. Congress the ability to regulate abortion at all. Basically, the Supreme Court said, no, the Constitution protects the right to abortion. And so a normal law to say, you know what, we're abolishing all abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy, or after 10 weeks of pregnancy, or after the first trimester even. You can't pass laws like that. Why? Because the Constitution, allegedly, according to the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade, protects it. When we come back on tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about the insane ways in which the Constitution purportedly protected abortion under Roe v. Wade and also under its sister case, Doe versus Bolton, and why every single abortion at any point of pregnancy and for any reason is legally protected by Roe and its sister case, Doe versus Bolton. This is John Girardi with Right to Life of Central California.